Yeah, that's not. Music is. One of these days, I got to introduce myself to a mirror. But hey, you got it. By the way, we got to change up the background there a little bit more. So, gotta make a few more adjustments. But we got the team, Yosemite, my man, Speed Racer, part of the team. God, I got this a while ago. He's opened up, played the music. That was so cool. Remember that cartoon? Loved it. Love the cartoon. I think I had a crush on Trixie. I don't want to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that. And then I was over here, Tweety Bird, my man, as that goes. And there's a few other things. We'll keep adding to everything in the back. So that's kind of exciting. But, well, what are we talking about here? RT versus ET? Reaction time versus elapsed time? Well, for you car racing, for you folks that drag race, I don't know what you're going to think of this video that I want to play, but it really explains out one of the confusing things that I had when I was announcing, the races is like, who won the race? How many races were there actually taking place inside of this thing? And how can the slower car beat the faster car? Uh, And I couldn't really wrap my head around that whole aspect of it. Ran across this video today, and I'm definitely going to play it for you. It's a little bit longer as that goes. I found it really, really fascinating, though, especially if you don't get it. If you're not if you're not at the track, or not even at the track, I was at the track, still didn't get it. But if you're into the racing and you are racing, you understand it completely. Boy, oh boy, do you ever? Reaction time is everything. It just is really everything, especially when you get into some of the other races. But it's unbelievable how important that is, the launch, that kind of stuff, and then also how a whole bunch of other factors go into it. Don't want to get technical there because this one I really wanted to explain or have this video explain to you where the where or how there's like two races going on that one drag strip. Be eighth mile, quarter mile, doesn't make a difference. There's two races going on. And the video will explain that out. But let's tie this into the business world here a little bit too, right? Is there a difference between going really fast and really quick? Is there a difference between launching, getting started this afternoon? Chris, good afternoon to you. Getting the rain out of the way today. Gonna be a beautiful weekend again. Beautiful weekend. But is there an advantage or a disadvantage in both of these things? Sometimes first one out of the box, you're starting a business, you're first, you're like, yeah, you get that excitement going. But it's obviously, it's just not everything. But it will give you a lead on your competitor. Again, two businesses starting up, two of the same businesses starting up. Who's going to get the most customers at first? First door to open. Racetrack, which car is going to win or looks like will have the advantage of the long-term win? Obviously, the one that goes first, the one that launches first, the one that gets going quicker than the other one. You have an advantage. It's a self-created advantage, but it's definitely an advantage. But if you don't have the legs, if you don't have the longevity issue involved, you could start and peter out really quick. That's not good. Same thing on track, without a doubt on business. So are you prepared? Are you focusing just on the launch of your business, the launch of a new marketing plan, a new business plan, and neglecting the longer term aspect of it? Shouldn't be doing that. What you really should be doing, oh, what you really should be doing is focusing on. I was waiting for that phone call. This is live, my friends. Oh, but I'm gonna have to. I'll call them back. Kind of a shame, but I'll call them back. Got some stuff I have to get done. So are you focusing on the longer term? The longer term aspect of it, which is just as important, sometimes more important. And you'll see what I mean over here. So we'll come back to you after the after this video. Definitely want to play it up. And Chris and the rest of the team out there have been like supers explaining to me the differences of the RT, ET, reaction time, elapsed time, the differences there, the whole thing. It's everything. It's absolutely everything. All right, so let's flip this over, and then I'm going to share the screen as this goes. And I am definitely, Chris, and you should know, everybody else, man, I'm definitely getting ready to go and get myself together here with the racing this weekend. All right, so let's go. We've got that shared. Let's play it. There you go. It's 8-minute video, so enjoy.
Hey everybody, Brooks from Drag Times. Today's video is about drag racing. Just a quick overview of reaction times, rollout. I get a ton of comments on a lot of the videos I put up where we're at the drag strip and one car beats another. It actually had a slower ET or a faster ET. People accuse me or others of jumping the gun or leaving before green. I'm going to make this video. If you're already familiar with drag racing, just close it out because it's going to be super boring for you. If you're not that familiar with it, it might be helpful. And when I get all these comments on videos in the future or in the past, I'll just point them here so you can see.
And let me just make a quick comment here. For those of you that know this material, and you'll know this material because it's basic. It's basic because you know it. But many folks don't know it. And if you want to understand how important it is to explain something out, this is really key. Now, for those of you in various industries and you want to apply this to the business world, it's the same thing, right? You want to have somebody, and I touched on this yesterday too, but if you want to build a team, you want to really build a team of people that are totally embedded in the whole entire project, whatever it is, business, personal, nonprofit, whatever, it doesn't really make a difference. And you're spitting out words to sound important, and they don't understand what you're talking about. The takeaway on that is, what the heck's the guy talking about? All right. If you take the time to explain out some of the details that go along with it, and this is for the average spectator that's watching it, what do they see? The light goes green, it goes down the end, somebody wins, somebody loses. What's the drag race? Green go, and then you hit the end. That's it. Oh, it's nowhere near it. I can tell you now. It's nowhere near it. It's nowhere near it. But if you want to get people to refer you from a business standpoint too, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a pick an industry, whatever. I'm an accountant. I'm a mortgage broker. I do mortgages. I help people who do refi. And they don't know what you're talking about. Reverse mortgages. A friend of mine does reverse mortgages. And he gets this a lot, is that people really don't understand. Maybe they understand what a reverse mortgage is, but they don't understand the inner implications of the whole thing and how it really works. It's in your industry, your business. If you can take the time to kind of explain out in understandable language how it operates, how different things impact everything, they're going to be able to visualize your business that much better because they get it. They get it. They're going to appreciate the fact that you took the time to explain out some basic stuff that you assume other people would know, or maybe you're too embarrassed to ask if you don't know, right? I didn't even know to not know when I got started this whole thing. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday because, my questions, my comments, my interaction with him has increased so much over the past year because I get more of it. Don't get the whole thing, get more of it. That's my focus for the next 4 weeks after, by the way, to get the whole thing fully. But apply this in every situation. Take the time to really explain what it is that you're doing to other people. This way they are involved in it in their own respect, in their own way, whatever their thing is that they're trying to accomplish. But if you can really take the time to let them understand every aspect of it, my guess is they're going to find other ways for them to enjoy and refer you that benefits them and benefits you. when it comes to the drag racing, look, I enjoy the top speed and I love looking at the cars and stuff like that. But I find this reaction time to be the most fascinating part of it because it is absolutely the great equalizer. All right, let me play the rest of this stuff. We'll go back over here. And yeah, so cool. Hey, Kat, thanks for joining us. Say hi to Chris. Chris, that's my wife. I spend my weekends with Chris. All right, let's get this thing going then. We'll get back to our video. And by the way, I I didn't ask permission to use this, just using it. So you want to go and like this guy with what they're doing, by all means do that. You know, it's a great video. All right, let's go back.
What we're talking about. So a few weeks ago, we did some races with Tesla P100D, Model S and Model X racing, and Aventador, Lamborghini Aventador SV. And these races were somewhat close, with the Model S P100D running in the high 10s and the Aventador running in the low 11s. And in one race, the Model S would win, and the next race, the Aventador would win, even though the Tesla was actually quicker each time to the end of quarter mile. So what we need to understand here is that it's a race, and it starts at the start and it finishes at the finish, 1,320 feet away, end of the quarter mile. Whichever car reaches the end of the quarter mile first wins the race. That's it. No question about it. That's the winner. So even though you have a faster car, you can still lose the race if the other guy or the other car crosses the finish line first. So how does that happen? Well, it's all about reaction time. When you line up the cars at the start, you have a 1 foot rollout. You stage the car and you line up at the line. There's a reaction time. And if the faster car takes longer to react to the green light and the slower car leaves first, then it can legitimately win the race, even though it had a slower ET. So in the case of the Tesla Model S race, the first race was legit. No one really had questions about it, but the Tesla ran 10.8 at 120 miles an hour, and the Lamborghini ran 11.0 at 129 miles an hour. And I'll put up the time slip, and the Tesla had not a great reaction time at all, 1.2 seconds. And the Aventador, the guy who's driving the Aventador, was first time at the drag strip, so we're not expecting like great reaction times out of him. Was a reaction time of 3 seconds, which is obviously absolutely terrible. So the slower car, the Aventador in this case, had a 2 second deficit against the Tesla right off the bat. So in that case, the Tesla ran 10.8, the Aventador ran 11.0, and the Tesla won by 2.1 seconds. That means across the finish line, 2.1 seconds before the Aventador did. So the next one's this is where we get everyone all kind of worked up. So in this race, we have the Tesla P100D against the Lamborghini Aventador. And this time, I was actually driving the Lamborghini Aventador against Dan, who was driving the Tesla. So I've been seeing the Tesla run 10.7, 10.8 all night long. The Aventador is yet to break into the 10s, running low 11s. I knew that in order to beat Dan, I was going to have a really good reaction time, be really aggressive off the launch. And that's what I did. Now, I did take a little bit of a risk. I could have red lighted, but I didn't. And this is where people get all worked up. You can leave before the light turns green. And I can tell you this, if you leave when you see that light turn green, you're probably going to lose the race because your reaction time just physically can't leave quick enough. You have to anticipate that green. So you actually have to leave before the light turns green, and that's legit. You actually should leave like between the yellow and the green, somewhere in there, and after you do it enough, you'll get used to it. But as you can see, when we play the frames slowly, you can see me actually leave before the light turns green, but my car, the Lamborghini, did not break the second staging beam before the actual light turned green. So that my reaction time was really good. As you can see in the time slip, it was 0.008 to Dan's 0.38. Dan really didn't have a good reaction time there. And what that shows is that even though he ran 10.9 in that race and I ran 11.1, he actually had a better ET, but I actually won the race because I had a better reaction time and I crossed the finish line 0.15 sooner than he did. So here you go. I'm going to play that video now, and you can see the race, how the race turned out, and see me actually cross the finish line first, even though he had a 10.8 and I had 11.1.
It's a lovely day today, so whatever you...
Cars built with...
right, so the last race I'm going to show you, which was a big one, was the Tesla Model X P100D racing the Lamborghini Aventador. And this is where the Model X set the world record for the quickest SUV, beating the $500,000 Lamborghini Aventador, where actually, you know, yes, the Tesla did win, but the Aventador had a quicker ET. So in this case, I was actually racing the Tesla Model X. My reaction time in this case wasn't that great. I knew that I was going up a driver in the Aventador whose reaction time wasn't going to be that good either. So I didn't really I want to make a somewhat fair race, so I kind of hesitate a little bit. My reaction time was 0.35 and his was 0.53. So you can see in the race, that reaction time that I had, which was just about 0.2 faster than his, enabled me to cross the finish line barely enough to actually win the race by, I think it was 0.05 seconds is what the Tesla won the race at, even though the Aventador ran a quicker ET with an 11.2 versus the Tesla's 11.4. What does this mean in the real world? Well, reaction time means a lot. When you're racing really fast cars, you know, if you get the jump, you could have a significant advantage against the other guy. It's really hard to get an even start most of the time. So you can see drag races all night long. You'll probably never see a dead even reaction time. It hardly ever happens. But nevertheless, reaction time means a lot in racing, and especially with drag racing, who actually wins the race. I'm going to play the Tesla Model X versus the Aventador video here, and I'll put up the time slips. And just so everyone gets it, you know, you can come off before the light turns green and still not red light, and that's a legitimate start. It's not cheating. It's part of racing. And whoever crosses the finish line first wins the race. There you go. Thanks for watching.
I'm gonna throw it back on. Drag times. Thank you so much. I didn't get a chance to ask if I could use the video. I would imagine so, but I would imagine so. That only goes so far. You know, I run the risk of copyright issues here with that kind of thing. I know with you play music as background, and I've even had that issue here. You play some music with background, I get hit with copyright stuff. Or in some countries, they don't allow it. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that go along with that. But the point is, with this, all right, it's not just drag racing. It's not just mashing down the gas pedal and going. Absolutely not. You know, if you take a look at some of the photos I took when I was at the Kids for Kids Foundation event, that was at Rally Point East. And let me tell you, that was quite a sight. These cars that they're racing there, they were there. It was different drivers, obviously, stuff like that. I think they filmed that down in Florida, but right out here, right over by Gabreski Airport, man, those cars were just something else. But they were really something else. You take a look inside of those cars, and you can see that the dashboard is a control panel. There's just so much going on. And that was the cars. That was the cars. There's another picture I took inside of one of the race cars, road car. You know, they make turns and stuff like that. But one of the road racing cars, and it is just unbelievable stuff that's in there. Now, I don't want to take away anything from our drag racing cars, because if you recall that other video I did where they had the kid went inside the car and he started asking, what's this, what's this, what's that? I'm glad he was asking those questions, because there's so much going on in there. And there was a few of the photos I had taken out at Calverton at the, you know, racetrack, not street events that were taking place there. Jeffrey's car too, you know, was one of the cars. I took a picture of the inside of the car, and to say that the car doesn't have much in the way of amenities, totally wrong. Just totally wrong. They don't have plush seats in the car. Far from it, you know, in that respect. But the electronic equipment that was in that car and all the other controls that were there, I can't explain them to you. I can't explain it to you. But even doing the burnouts, there's different ways of doing that. It's not just what I had thought. You put your foot on the brake, you let out the clutch, you put your foot on the gas, and you just make sure that the brakes can hold the car from moving. And then, you do the burnout, and that kind of thing. And then at the starting line, it's something similar in nature. But no, maybe with a flat out street car it is, but not on the racing side of it. Not when you get into more of the high powered vehicles, uh, the big tire cars, which will be taking place this weekend, a big tire shootout, as that goes. So, what's the business aspect of this? Hey, for you as a business owner, there's a lot of things you need to know, do, and learn that are not just opening the doors and having a business, not just creating a website and say, hey, I got a website or just a social media page or anything like that. There's so much more. So getting out of the gate first, getting started first, yeah, there's something to be said for that. You come up with something totally unique, flashy, exciting, that's an attention grabbing thing. You know what? That's great. That will give you that edge over some of your competitors. But without the substance, without the power behind the whole thing, without the longevity behind the whole thing, without a strategy behind the whole thing, and even with the racing going down the track, there's full blown strategies to the whole thing. And Chris, Errol, and a whole bunch of other folks that participate with this thing could tell you a lot more about that, because it's not just getting started, it's actually making sure that you don't get tire spin, you're keeping that car straight, you've got more power as you're able to go down the track, the rest of that stuff, and of course stopping the car in the end too. Um, all that stuff is a factor in the whole thing. For the business, same thing, same thing. Where do you begin? Something unique, exciting, something that gets you excited, something that really gets you going, something that helps you launch. Where do you go beyond that? It's got to be a plan. There's got to be a plan. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan, and then guaranteed it won't be a perfect plan. It won't. That's why you learn from those mistakes, learn from every aspect of it each and every day, or each and every time you do a run going down there. It's everything's at this little tweak here, a little tweak there. How do I get that car going a little bit quicker? How do I get it started going quicker? How do I get a little bit more top end? Where's the balance between the two? All that kind of stuff. With your business, where do you spend money? Where do you spend time, energy, and effort? Is it just on the launch, on the grand opening? It's, hey, look at us, grand opening. You call all the newspapers, you get the media down there, you call your chamber of commerce, you join a couple of chambers of commerce specifically for it. Now you got all these photos. It's great. Maybe you get an article, 2, 3 in the paper. Hire somebody to write another article for you. Great idea. Shoot a video, do a podcast, do all of that stuff. And then what? Write a plan. Speak to the folks at the Small Business Development Center, Miller Business Center, any of these places that are open to sharing different ideas, thoughts, join a mastermind group, whatever it is. But you got to have that power behind the whole thing. And talking from the standpoint of, where are we going? Where am I going with all of this stuff? It's like, yeah, it's a tweak. Sometimes it's a massive shift from one day to the next. I get way too excited about too many things. I can't even begin to tell you, because I only got another 5 minutes to go here, so I won't tell you. But wow, I went to the Suffolk County Alliance Chambers meeting yesterday morning. Wow, so many great people looking to do so many great things. That Stony Brook Incubator with the different food companies that are out there. Pay attention that they had an explosion, real life stuff here, and this is September 22nd, so have dates on there. But the Stony Brook Food Incubator, which actually happens to be at the EPCAL Park, the Executive Air Park in Calverton, where that racing is taking place, but it's on the other side of the park. One of the ovens exploded. They had an issue with one of the ovens. I don't know the exact details, but I can tell you that it has to be repaired, and they're not operating right now as a food incubator. And what is taking place there? It's operated by Stony Brook University, but these are businesses. These are not students. These are businesses are operating there. So now they are trying to coordinate something with finding new places for them to operate from, new ovens that they could use in order to make their goods, and they're selling their goods. And they were down there yesterday. I can tell you, man, the food is great. I hope I could say this on air, but I spoke to the illegal baker. Yeah, and Vanessa, Van's Country Potato Salad, and a bunch of other people. I got a few of their cards over here. Oh, I also ate pretty well too. Lucky Lou's Gourmet. Run across them a couple of times over. That's Maria. A few others. Willow's Baked Goods was another one. Kristen. So many, all great stuff. I think we'll have them on. Over here too to talk about what they're doing. But they're out there. How did they get started? What did they do? I think right now they're all learning about longevity because you have a great idea, you get going, you launch it, you find a place to make your goods, everything's good, but sometimes you got to deal with the what ifs. What ifs? Now they're contemplating what their business continuity plan is, not just marketing and everything like that. So longevity really has to do with figuring out a whole bunch of different things and taking a step back. And in many times, it really does make sense to get a third person point of view on that. Maybe somebody who's been there and done that, such as the SCORE program. It's another place. It's SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. A lot of the coaches that are there, a lot of the counselors that are there to obviously help you, but they have experience, real life experience in these industries. That's great stuff. Just relying on a friend, not necessarily the best thing, unless they're going to give you really good, clear, concise, honest responses. Look, I appreciate people telling me I'm doing a good job, the rest of that stuff. No, it obviously makes me feel good, the rest of that stuff. But if I really want to get better, it's like, what could I do to improve? What can I do to improve? So I'm going to end on that note about what you could do to improve. Doug King with the high-powered wheelchair. Absolutely. One day, man, we'll go figure out. As you mentioned, I think there is somebody that is out there that uses a wheelchair to get around, but obviously you wouldn't know that they're sitting in the car. Maybe they got hand controls. I don't know, Chris. Maybe we can go figure that one out over there. But there's so many ways to accomplish things. There are so many opportunities that are out there, regardless of whatever those challenges that we face. It may be done differently, but it may be there. And even in some of the conversations, I don't want to go over, but even in some of the conversations I had with the folks at the food incubator, and there was a number of elected officials there and a number of other institutions that were there, and a lot of them have a lot of same goals. This whole idea with the Suffolk County Alliance of Chambers was to help businesses move forward. Now, you had the specific example here of these companies that are operating at a food incubator that now all of a sudden they need to move forward. And they are small businesses. And these are the people that are growing within our community. And the food is fantastic. I didn't eat anything that wasn't good. Their challenge that they may face now because of that oven might create some other opportunities. Your challenges that you may face may create other opportunities. Was it what you thought of? Nah, probably not. May it be better? Maybe. Will it be different? Yeah, that is the truth. And who knows? Maybe it just might be the perfect scenario for you and your situation and with whatever it is that you are challenged with as you go along. All right. So this is Thursday. I just looked down over there. I won't tell the wife. She's going to see this anyhow. This is Thursday. That means tomorrow's Friday. That means the following day will be Saturday and Sunday. Daytime races out there. Visit Racetrack Not Street. Join that Facebook page. See, you can follow along there. Long Island Needs a Drag Strip. Join that group page too. Phenomenal people that are there. They got the car shows every Tuesday night at the church. Raise your money. It's great. The folks that are there are fantastic. And they're a wealth of information for one. Everybody's looking to share some stories along the way. And it's a great thing, not just from the racing, but from the vocational aspect and everything else that goes along with it. Learn from it. Learn how to interact with other people. by showing them what it is that you're doing and see how they can benefit from it also. That's how you really grow a solid community. Speak well, my friends. Speak well, speak often, live inspired. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you Saturday, either in person, maybe online, on air someplace. All right, I'm out of here. We won't tell the wife. Let's get a little bit of music going here, and then we'll move on. And I got to return that phone call. Thank you, Drag Times.